It's after midnight, and it's time for conversations about love, family, friends, sex, and life. It's Love and Life with Carol Riddick and Donavan West, only on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hello there, family, and welcome once again to another episode of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM, but you already knew that. In any event, I am your host, Carol Riddick, and as always, I like to tell you that it is my pleasure and my privilege to spend some time with you. And my crazy co-host, he sends his love as well, Donavan West. You know him. You all love him because we see the emails that you send. We know that you love us, I will say, and we appreciate you more than I can express. I hope that, everything is going well with you. I haven't done a check-in a minute, but I'm sending you love. We're all sending you and yours love and hoping that all is coming along well with and for you. So I want to let you know, for those who are unfamiliar, right here, this is where we discuss anything and everything as it pertains to love and life. And tonight is no different. We thank you for hanging out with us in the midnight hour because, we think that's special. We think we're special. So we appreciate you. In any event, what I want to do is share with you, family. I want to introduce to you some other family members of ours. We have a beautiful young couple that you're going to love because I love them. And I know once you meet them, you are going to love them and want to know more and more about them. But they are a power couple. They are love personified. And I've known them, each of them, for quite some time. I knew them prior to them becoming one, which makes tonight's episode even more special to me. But without further ado, because I could talk, as you know, to you about them, I would like for you to know Dilemma and Ashley Coleman. Say hi, y'all. I have to get that. I have to get some sound effects. I said I need streamers and sound effects and all this, but I'm working on it. Y'all know it's a process. Hey, y'all. First of all, thank you. Thank you for, coming and spending some time. I always tell our family members, we our conversations here are unapologetic and they're transparent and we just share. I tell everybody that I'm hopeful that something, if not just one thing, can, inspire somebody else along their journey or be helpful to somebody along their journey. So you never know. You never know.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us, of course.
What? Are you kidding me? I was so excited. So family, which you don't know, okay, I was trying to reach out to them. When I tell you, they're a power couple, we were trying. The emails were going back and forth. We were like, okay, today, tomorrow, next week, next year, when. But you know what? Thank you, God, for small favors, okay? Thank you, God, for small favors because He made it so. He made it so. And here we are. Here we are.
Yeah.
But I would like, if you wouldn't mind, for you first to individually let our family members know just who you are and from where you come.
Sure. So I guess I'll start. I'm Ashley Coleman, like mentioned in the intro, and I am Philly born, bred, raised from the 215th, we like to say. So yes, Philadelphia is hometown for me, and then for you.
Oh, hello. I go by Dilemma. Everyone knows me as Dilemma. I'm from Willingboro, New Jersey. And we call it Little Motown. Exit 5 off the Turnpike. Um, yeah, so I'm from Willingboro, New Jersey, right across the bridge, but went to UArts and spent so much time in Philly. They adopted me, so I also
Hmm.
say I'm from Philly as well. Or we call it Philadelphia.
Oh, wait a minute. I just learned some things. I had no idea that Willingboro was Little Motown or Philadelphia. So look at that. Look at that. But you know, the
Hmm.
other thing I learned, I never knew you were from Willingboro. So I always
Oh
thought you were from
wow!
Philly. I always thought you were from Philly.
Nope,
Yeah.
straight up from Willingboro, just like all the great ones.
They're all the great, you hear this, all the great. But you know what's funny to me? Because right now I feel like the whole Philly Jersey it's a melting pot.
Hmm.
I feel like we're all from the same place because you
Yeah,
never know. You never know. Since we're just across the bridge anyway, and all of
right.
us are in each other's camps and homes, and you know we're all doing everything together. It's just one big
Yes.
melting pot. So I like the Philadelph. I like the Philadelph. I like that. I like
Yeah.
but it looks like Philly is all over the place. We've got Philadelphia, we've got Philadelphia,
Hmm.
But I'm not
Hmm.
mad at it though. I'm not mad at
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes when you get across the bridge, I like it here. I'll just stay.
it. Right.
You
It's
know.
all love. It's all love.
Hmm. Hmm.
So okay, so you said you went to performing arts.
Yes, I went to UArts, studied music ed and jazz performance, and in college, that's where I learned how to produce. My roommate was Adam Blackstone. He had all the equipment in our dorms right there on Spruce, and Adam and I went to high school together, so we already had kind of like a brotherhood. And so when we got to UArts, or when he got to UArts, he was always touring with like Jaguar
Mm-hmm.
and Vivian. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
in the room by myself looking at all this equipment, like, let me just see what this do and this do. So he would come back and I would play him what I've been creating. And he was the first one that kind of like super encouraged me to like go forward with production. Like, hey, you're getting really good really fast. Like, you should, go into this. And
I
so,
love that.
yeah, so it was good. It was good. And at UArts, that's where I learned how to produce.
You know, it's so funny. I tell everybody all the time, no matter how much I think I know somebody, I don't know them at all. I don't know
Hmm.
anybody. Clearly, I don't know anybody because I know both you and Adam family. You
Hmm.
know Dilemma now if you did not before, and you'll get to know Adam as well if you're unfamiliar. And I did not know the two of you were roommates. I feel like, well, what, no, what? But that's why
Right.
we're here, right? That's why
Right.
we're
Yep.
here. And family members, what I should also share with you that I did not when I was introducing Dilemma and Ashley to you is that Dilemma is a producer, he's an engineer, he's a DJ, he's a Renaissance man. Okay, he's a jack of all trades, master of most. Okay, we'll say that, right? and, and his wife, Ashley, is an author. She's a podcaster, I believe, as well, right? She's a music industry professional. She's the director of member outreach for the Recording Academy, and she's a dreamer, which I love. I love that because I'm a dreamer too. But I should have let you all know so you know just what to expect when, they're talking about
Mhm.
life, and they're explaining to you just what it is and how everything came about. So you said Adam was pushing you along. He was saying, "Yo, you're like really good at this,
Yeah.
so you should."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was never there. He was always on tour. So, I kind of
Mm,
learned how the basics of, MPCs and Tritons and just putting sounds together. It was a hobby to me. It was like, you would go to school and go to class and then come back to your dorm room, have your little oodles and noodles and just make beats all
oh my gosh, we all lived on oodles of noodles and.
day. Right.
Not the oodles and noodles,
Yeah.
right?
And once I realized it can actually be a career, that's when I started
Mm.
taking it serious. But yeah.
Well, let me ask you this because if I might interject, you were just saying that you had gone to UArts. So what did you aspire to be?
Music teacher. I went for music ed. I really wanted to be my music teacher.
Wow.
So Jeffrey Lesser, that was the goal. That was the North Star. I wanted to go and teach music. My teachers, my private teachers, they all were teachers. And so I thought that was my path too. And, during my sophomore year, going into my junior year, that's when the bug of production hit me. And I was like, hold
Wow.
on, wait a minute. I don't like to be, I'm a
That
kid
happens to
myself.
everybody.
Yeah, yeah. And then full circle is like I'm teaching kids now. Like I'm teaching kids virtually, high school students about production and, what can they expect in the music industry and recording. So I'm still getting that teaching thing.
It comes full circle, doesn't it?
Yes, yes,
Wait,
yes.
I want to talk more about that too, though, about teaching. Let me tell you something. I have a greater respect for educators.
Hmm.
Being one myself, but the more you do it, the more you do it, and the more experiences you have, you learn so much about yourself. I don't know if you would agree with that, but I've learned so much
Absolutely,
about myself, you
absolutely.
know. But I
Yeah,
mean, all good though,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
no, I can't say that. Good, bad, and indifferent, because there's some things about me, that I need to improve upon. But,
Right,
but,
right, right.
but, oh, look at
We
here.
all
This is my
do.
assistant. You right? You learn these things. My assistant Chloe has joined us. For those of you who just joined us, you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. All of my family members that have been on this journey with us at Love and Life, they're familiar with my assistant, Chloe. And Chloe, my baby. And she's just joined us. She's come in for a moment just to sit on mommy's lap. So, continuing with what you were saying, talking about being an educator, for how long now have you been teaching?
I want to say about at least 8, 9 years now. I've been teaching high school students and at the Village of Arts and Humanities in Philadelphia. Shout out
Nice.
to our mentor, Aisha Winfield, for even introducing that world to me. I thought it was over once I was like locked into the studio. I thought teaching was, done for me. But she said no. There's this program that's looking for a teaching artist that is actually in the business but can actually talk to the students and they can see it in real time. So I'll go teaching on Monday and then in the studio with Meek or Jasmine on Tuesday, and then they can see that. And so it just hits a little different.
Excuse me, sir. First of all, what we're not going to do is say in the studio with, Jasmine or Meek. Like, we're not all in the studio with Jasmine Sullivan. But he's not saying it's Sullivan or Meek Mill. He's just like, yeah. Sir,
Yeah.
uh, what
It's
we're not going to do, what I'm not going to do, okay?
mhm.
I'm not going to let anyone who is listening and or watching go by without knowing in full detail just who you and your wife are. Okay. So that's why we're here tonight. Jasmine and Meek. What? Like they're my cousin Meek, or that's what
Right,
we say.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
we say. It's
yeah.
like my
I
cousin.
mean, they're from the crib, so it's a little different. And when you get to work with them, it's definitely an honor and a blessing. I know
Yeah.
Jasmine. We all know Jasmine is, you know, out of this world. So
Yes, we do.
yeah, so it's that I can't even take any credit for it. It was, you know, it's just been an amazing just to be asked to be in a room and just contribute to her and her artistry and so and with Meek. And I'm also just glad the students can get to see that too
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and see,
So
behind
when
the
you
scenes.
so when you say that the students get to see that, how do you share the experience with them?
Um, I mean, I might get in trouble for this, but
Oh, okay. Well, no, we don't want
sometimes
those
I'll
rules.
share them songs that aren't released yet. Like, hey, I was in the
Okay.
studio with
Okay.
this artist. Here's what we worked on, and then months later, they'll see it released, and then they can kind of
Nice.
like get a gauge of how long something takes to be released into the marketplace, and they also get to see how many changes a record goes through. So they'll hear it from the first. Okay, the Lemma played this in February, and then it changed in May, and then it changed again in November, and then it was released the following February.
I love that. I love that. So do you make that a part of your course, or do you just share the experience with them? Is that
I share the experience just to kind of give, whenever real things are happening, sometimes I'll bring artists that I am working with to speak to the kids, to speak to the
mm-hmm.
students. But anytime that I have something that can help build the momentum or just give some type of, just inspire the students,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
especially if it's from Philly, that's important to try to pull examples right from their backyard.
I feel like I kind of glossed over something that you said, and I don't want to do that because I just joked about you saying you've worked with Meek Mill and Jasmine Sullivan, but how did that even come about? I know that
Okay.
you, yeah.
Yeah. With Jasmine, it all started with her engineer, Joe Logic. Joe Gallagher, Joe Logic is his name.
Mm-hmm.
He was recording Jasmine for a good 2-3 years, and never told me. Me and Joe actually met kind of through Ashley too, but me and Joe was working at Milk Boy just on beats, just having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
We were both working with Chill Moody at the time, and we just liked working with each other. So we would always go down to Milk Boy and just create. And
Mm-hmm.
in one of those sessions, he was like, "Hey, man, I've been recording Jasmine for the last like 3 years." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" No. And I was like, "Why don't you play her some of our stuff?" And at first he was a little, I don't know, but he eventually played her a track, and she loved it, and that started the relationship. At first it was Stupid Girl, and then If You Dare, that was on reality show. And so
Mm-hmm.
when she started Hotels, he just gave me that text, "Hey, she's back in the studio. Um, she's inviting some people over her house. You should come over." And I went over to the house. She had producers in different rooms, and that's where the track for The Other Side was made.
I love that. I love, love, love that. And I love that, like you were explaining, you can share that experience with your students. You can talk with them about inception, and share the entire journey with them, because a lot of people, not just young adults, a lot of people don't know
Hmm.
what it takes, and they're not aware of the process, or
Correct.
how long sometimes the journey is,
Correct.
from that first word to the release of a song or a
Yeah.
project in its
Yeah.
entirety. So I,
Mhm.
I, I love that too. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is pretty cool. So you said, so your students, they're high school age, you said?
Yes. Between 14 and 19 years old, uh, students. Yeah,
Mm.
14 and 19, and all over the city. Some from Kappa, some from Central, some from Girls High, all over.
That's pretty cool.
And it's always good to see the light bulb go off when they
Mm-hmm.
finally get it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's important to me that
The,
that light bulb goes off.
the students with which you work, are they interested in a career in the music industry, or are they just, do they come to the center and they just happen to? Are you an elective? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
is your class an elective, or do they actually have an interest in music? I'm always curious to know.
It's an after school program,
Mm-hmm.
so we kind of feel like fit in this gap where schools that
Yeah,
don't really have a great music program, they can come and they can create. So the whole
understood.
program is dancing, it's art, it's photography, um, it's art that can transition into a business. We teach that as well. So most of the students come in with they all come in with the love of music. They just trying to
Mm-hmm.
figure
Ah,
out,
nice.
oh, this is called a manager. This is called an engineer.
Nice.
This is called a songwriter. This is a vocal producer. Okay. All of these little, jobs that you can, you know, gravitate to. We just expose them to those
Nice.
options.
My goodness, that sounds so awesome. Okay, so I'm guessing that I'm too old, because you said they're all music industry. They're all
Whitaker, you
high
are
school
always
students.
welcome. Come on over. You're welcome. Come on. Come on now.
I'm going to come and take some classes. Okay. You know,
Mhm.
I'm always, listen, knowledge is power. I tell my
Yeah.
students, I call them my kids, but I tell my students, look, knowledge is currency. So I tell them
Mhm.
that's power and currency. You'd better
Yes.
soak it all up. If there's a
Yes.
lesson to be learned, you'd better soak it all up. So
Yes.
family, if you've just joined us, I want to make you aware that you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD. Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM, and we are talking with none other than Dilemma and his wife, Ashley Coleman, our power couple with whom we are discussing life tonight. What we're going to do in this moment, since we've held Dilemma hostage, we're going to take a break. Okay, after the commercial break, we're going to hold Ashley hostage, okay, for a few moments. So stay with us, okay, because we will be right back.
April is National Poetry Month.
Will they clone little black girls who won't die but fight, who supplement stamina for endless struggles to write? Will they clone little black girls like Asada, Sonia, Tubman, knowing what they know? Will they clone little black girls like Nikki, Zora, Mommy, Grandma, who orchestrate transmutation as they go under cloaks of duplicity and breaches staggering? Rhetorical, I know. Will they clone little black girls like Sojourner, Rosa, Fannie Lou, Frances Ellen, Maxine, Angela, Tony, who brave notwithstanding ghettos, guns, gloom, doom, distracted and detracted mothers mothering, who staved unequivocally and persevered, erasing all doubt of concession, digression, misconception, and their wonder? Will they clone little black girls with the integrity of legacy? Little black girls like me, like you, that won't die but fight. Will they clone little black girls? I know that's right.
That was Lois Moses on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Imagine you on a deserted island all by yourself, or even being in a crowd of people yet still feeling alone. That's what being a victim of sexual assault can feel like. Victims of sexual assault are at an increased risk for developing depression, PTSD, substance abuse, eating disorders, and anxiety. Sexual assault can happen to anyone, and is any unwanted sexual contact such as unwanted touching, fondling, groping, or even rape. No always means no, so speak up and speak out. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Black Americans have died of COVID-19 at over 2 times the rate of white counterparts. This is due to systemic racism and healthcare disparities. Here are some tips for protecting yourself. Wear a mask covering your mouth and nose. Avoid crowds. Wash your hands with soap and water. Use alcohol-based sanitizers. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Practice social distancing and follow World Health Organization guidelines. Quarantine if you've been exposed to the virus. Self-isolate if you're experiencing symptoms. Seek medical attention if you experience difficulty breathing, a fever, cough, sudden confusion, or pressure in your chest. If you don't have health insurance or a healthcare provider, try contacting your state health department, community health clinics, or local hospitals for testing and treatment. Together, we can stay informed and empowered. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
When I cross the finish line, it's not just me. I succeed because of others. When I was pregnant, I survived because of others. At 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Because my doctor took quick action and my husband was there to help me, I'm alive. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
For the Indianapolis Colts. Becoming a running back was no easy task for me. But it's nothing compared to what my amazing mom faces every day. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14 years old. Yet she's always there for me, every step of the way, despite her own battles. And the Muscular Dystrophy Association is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Their research is helping find cures and save lives. Watching my mom go through her daily struggles and the care she receives from MDA has made me determined to help find a cure for neuromuscular disease. That is why I support MDA, and that's why I'm so grateful to others who do too. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka The Food Griot, the host of Savory and Sweet, a new show about food, history, and culture. Savory and Sweet is a flavorful exploration of food marinated in the Black experience, seared with history and brazen culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet, Food, History, and Culture every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. beginning January 2nd, 2022, exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
Well, hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. I want to let you know that you can email us. I don't know if I said that to you before, but in the event that I did not, and I'm guessing that I did not, I want to let you know that you can email us at loveandlife@wordradio.com. That's love and life at WURDradio.com. But listen, don't be shy. You know, you can send us a hello. You can send us questions, comments, or you can even suggest topics to us that you would like for us to discuss. So I better see some emails from you guys. I'm going to be on the lookout for them. In the meantime, I want to get back to our conversation with tonight's guests, who are none other than Dilemma and his wife, Ashley Coleman. Now, we held Dilemma hostage for a few moments, okay?
Yes,
We were drilling him about life as a producer, engineer, DJ, and educator. So now, Ashley, it's your turn. It's your turn. So, family, I made everyone aware before the commercial break that Ashley is an author. She's a podcaster. She is a music industry professional. She's a director of member outreach for the Recording Academy, and she's a dreamer. Now, I don't know how she dreams because with all of those titles, I'm inclined to believe she does not sleep. So, Ashley, I know, and you've shared with us that you're from Philadelphia, born, raised, bred, but please talk to us about your journey thus far.
Sure. So I am a Temple alum. So I went to Temple, TU.
You.
Yeah, it was there that I studied. I was under broadcast, telecommunications, and mass media, which I'm now old enough that they've changed the name. So it's probably it was like RTF or something like that before. Yeah, then it was BTMM. Now it's something else. And so I finally reached that pinnacle. But yeah, there's where I studied communications, and I was able to kind of do some of the music business track and study a lot about music recording. So there was where I was able to study under Jack Klotz and Phil Niccolo and, great engineers and instructors and teachers from Philadelphia. And then at some point, point, in that journey at Temple was when I joined Grammy U, which was the college level membership to the Recording Academy. It's also when I got linked up with Junior Music Executive, which was run by Aisha Winfield. And that all was actually how I found out about the Academy, started getting involved, met Carol at some point in that journey. In a few years after I graduated school, I ended up getting connected with the Recording Academy, and also in that journey meeting Dilemma, because I started out songwriting and recording, and kind of like on that creative track. And it's just been a lot of twists and turns, in the path kind of since then. But I guess one consistent being the Recording Academy for a long time.
You know what? As you say that, with regard to the word specifically consistent, I'm thinking as long as I've known you, all of that has been consistent. Like, well, no, I'll say this because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think when we first met, I met you as a writer. You were writing with Donald Robinson, right? Or no, was it Carvin or Donald Robinson? Donald, right?
Both, right? But we probably met through Donald. But Donald Robinson was one of my first mentors ever. And I met him through events at the Recording Academy and through Grammy U was how we met. I had some really horribly recorded demos
we all do.
That I recorded myself at Temple. I distinctly remember just being in there like, I'm going to get these records down. The one thing I know how to do is record. I might not be on pitch. I don't have no backup music, but I got these lyrics. And
wait, the look on his face.
You know how it is? It's like, I got a song in my heart. Like, that is how my songwriting journey started. Okay?
Oh, my goodness.
And at the time, Donald had his studio in Bryn Mawr, which is a suburb of the city. And he was like, I remember us talking later where like we had linked up and he helped me and I would record at the studio and things like that. And we would write songs together. I was like, what in the world would make you like, invite me to the studio from those awful demos? And he was like, well, I saw your potential.
Well, that was a beautiful thing. No, because that's a part of all of our journey. I will never forget. And I always joke with Ivan about this. Ivan Barrios. We have a song. I was a budding writer and he was a budding producer. And we recorded this song. I promise you, I sound like I'm underwater or in front of a fan or something. It is the weirdest thing, but we laugh about it because, it's part of our journey. It's just a part of the process. We all have those demos where you're like, no.
Like, please don't ever let this get out.
Don't ever let this get out. And he always says it too. He said, don't you ever play that for anybody. I don't even have it anymore though, but still, it's always funny to me. When I hear other people's stories about, the beginning, because now we're all still trying to improve upon where we are right now. And we think about when we started, how crazy things were then in comparison. But I remember you were writing with Donald, and then I remember you were writing with Carvin Hagen's family members, for those of you who are listening, because I'm talking, listen, Dilemma and Ashley are family, so I'm talking to them and I forget that we are sharing. Okay, we are sharing. We're sharing a story. So I must let you know that I have to check myself and make sure I am explaining to you so that you know about whom we're speaking. So fast forward, because I know, like I said, when in the beginning, I remember you writing. What prompted you to write a book? What made you say, you know what, I like this thing, but this is not where it stops. I need to do this, and I need to move further. Like, what prompted you to do that?
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where, like, I've explained to people, like, I've been a writer all my life. Like, I was definitely a young kid who wrote stories in notebooks that, like, some of them I probably still have in the garage of our house in Philly. And so there was always this storyteller, I feel like, in me. And then, like, my mom was an avid reader, so she took us to the library all the time. It stuck for me, didn't quite stick for my brother. He did not love reading books, but it stuck.
That's terrible.
We joke about it. About how it kind of like stuck for me, and I always felt like it was something I could do, but we joked about the twists and turns, and so the consistent thing was writing, right? And so I tried all these iterations of it, like, well, I love music and I love writing, so I'll write songs, right? Like, and that really kind of funneled me into like blogging, was kind of like the start of writing for public consumption. Blogging led me to freelance writing, which was like just a big opportunity to write and actually like get paid money to do it. And then it was in 2017 that I had applied for a fellowship for a writing retreat, that you needed a 20-page sample, essentially, of writing. And so I wrote this 20-page sample, and I didn't get into the fellowship, but I just felt like maybe I could see this through. Like, I liked the story so much that I was like, well, let me just keep writing. And I just kept writing, which eventually became about 80,000 words somehow. And I said, wow, there's a book here. And so I think it was always a dream, kind of, but that was the logistical kind of steps that led me to writing the book.
I love that, but I feel like you're glossing over too, because you're talking about the blog, and you're talking about we've not said the title of the blog, the title of the books. Like, okay, so we need to share with our family members so that they can find everything.
Yeah, well, the blog is defunct a bit now. So, like, when I started blogging, it was under writelaughDream.com, which is still the name of my company. And I'm still the name of my LLC. But the actual blog now just lives on AshleyMColeman.com, and so I do blog there, not as regularly, though, y'all. So, but there's some good stuff up there that you can still read.
Yes.
Yes, and then the book is called Good Morning Love, which is about in June of this year. My publisher is Simon & Schuster, and so we are really working towards getting closer, and things are really coming together for the book release this summer.
Okay, again, my publishing assignment with Schuster. Like, how did we get there? Okay, so understand. First of all, family, let me tell you something. I tell you all the time that as a creative, we just get used, we're used to just doing what we do. We're just used to, we're constantly the hamsters on the wheel, and we're grinding and we're hustling. And, we set goals and we say, okay, I got that. On to the next one, on to the next. So I understand as I'm listening to you, because you sound like me, my heavens to Murgatroyd, the both of you, people have always stopped me like, okay, so can you explain that? But talking about your journey, I really want to let our family members know. I want them to be able to find, even stuff that you and I, like, we'll say, no, that was back then. But it's a part of our journey, it's a part of our journey. And it also helps those who are new to us grow with us, So I like, now, if it's something you're saying, you're like, Carol, no, I don't want them to read that, because that's no. But if it's something that you want to share, I want our family members to be privy, because they we all like to grow together, and I want them to grow with you. I want them to grow with you.
No, and it's so true. I mean, because, I feel like, he kind of did talk about being in the studio and things like that. And, there is an element to, like, this is just the work, like, right? Like, and these are the things you do. But I don't mean to minimalize, because, quite frankly, I still have to, like, pinch myself sometimes thinking about, like, the fact that I do have, like, a publisher.
Hello.
Which is insane, right? But I feel like it's important to highlight that I did self-publish 2 books. So just thinking about people who might be on their own kind of writing journey and things like that. The blog helped me kind of develop an audience to self-publish 2 of my own books, Dear Love and Love on Purpose. And that was really kind of coming from the content from the blog, just talking a lot for me at that time about learning more about God's love and how that really should be manifesting itself in my real life relationships. And so that was a big topic for the blog.
I want to just stop you for one moment because I really want to go back into something that you just said. But before doing so, family, if you just tuned in, you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. And we are talking with none other than Dilemma and his wife, Ashley Coleman. And we're going to take a short break. Okay, but when we come back, there's more Dilemma and Ashley. So stay with us because we will be right back.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night too. Did you have a clue?
No, but teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
We're often influenced by what we see or hear on social media. Beware of disinformation campaigns targeting Black communities by using cultural issues to incite divisions, spread false information, and negatively influence public opinions. We're in this together, and together we can stay informed and empowered. Learn more at nbcit.org. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side. By your side. And every day is a different day. Everything is in everything. Even when you think things will never ever be the same, don't be scared of the world, I'll be here to stay. By your side. Even when your heart ain't listening, or your mind takes you a different
When the adults in a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time.
I'll be by your side.
Talk. They hear you.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. Dilemma, I see you. I see you over there clowning me. I see you. I see you. I see you. But, I can't help it. I can't help it. I'm on 10 most of the time. So, family. Before the commercial break, we were talking with Ashley about her journey thus far. And something you said, Ashley, about the process. You said that when you were blogging, it helped to prepare you for becoming an author. I'm curious to know, because I knew, I've known you all these years, and I knew when you were doing this, but how long were you blogging? Like, how long was that a part of your journey before actually publishing your own, becoming a self-published author, and then the amount of time before actually acquiring a publisher? And I did hear you say Schuster. I did hear you say that.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I always say, I started blogging in 2010, and then I started taking it seriously in 2013. So 2013 was around the same time that I published the first book, because I had been blogging a bit and then released a book, and that was around 2013. And it was, I guess the book was really fueled to realize people were paying attention, or people cared what I had to say. So that really kind of propelled me into a space to be more regular with it, to step my game up, probably update the website, things like that. That was all around 2013. And so I guess when you look at that journey, from 2013 to 2017 was all this work, right? Writing on a regular basis, writing consistently. Because even if you're not writing, say, in the genre that your book might be in, just writing all the time is like taking jump shots or free throws in the gym, right? It's literally just getting very acquainted with taking what's in your head and translate into that to what's on paper. And so from 2017 of kind of deciding I was going to write this book, and kind of see it through, I did a lot of I had a writing group and got feedback, and I had different beta readers and things like that. Once I felt like I had a draft, and then I think I started trying to pitch for an agent in 2019, because for traditional publishing, you have to have an agent first to be able to then pitch it to publishers.
So what is that part of the process, pitching it to a publisher? What does that entail?
Yeah, so it actually starts from your pitch. It actually starts from your pitch to the agent, because what I learned is they actually just take a lot of what you pitch to them and then pitch it to a publisher.
Okay.
So when you are trying to get an agent first, you're writing query letters essentially that tell them what the book is about, gives a brief synopsis, and then also tells them who you are and maybe what you've done, if you've won any awards or done different fellowships, et cetera, and you're sending this letter to all these people that are all telling you thanks but no thanks, until you get that final, you only need one yes,
right,
until you get that bite. and then you work to develop the story a little bit more with your agent, right? Like just
Okay.
keep refining it, keep making it better. And then they take that same letter you kind of gave them, they kind of repackage it, remix it, if you will, to then start pitching it to editors at publishing houses. And they'll tend to put together a list of people who are looking for certain types of stories. And they start giving sample pages and to publishers.
And there's my assistant. So, right, Chloe, she must be included. So I know, well, I believe everybody's process is different, but about how long does that, or can that take, how long did it take for you? I guess that's the better question between, pitching and then actually acquiring.
Whew, that process is brutal. So I spent most of 2019 pitching the book for an agent. Because it was hard and it was like just a lot of rejection. And like, I think whether you're working in music or like anything in the arts, sometimes that rejection can get internalized as like, you're not good enough or whatever the case may be. But really what's happening is like, you just haven't found the right fit, and that's okay. So that was like a whole year almost of pitching. And then like when I literally was giving up and kind of like, okay, let me move on to the next story. And, I was going to keep writing and just kind of trying to move on to the next thing, because I had heard from other people like, well, you don't sell your first book anyway and blah, blah, blah. The top of 2020 was literally when I got an agent who was like, oh, I love it, and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And then we sold the book. Did we sell the book in 2020? Because it was so weird. It was like, we definitely sold the book in the middle of the pandemic.
Wow.
But that process wasn't as long between like getting an agent, kind of like revising the book, and then selling the book. But Dilemma's going to tell you how that happened. So
thank you, Dilemma.
I know. I was getting scolded. So part of how that happened was, all these years I spent blogging and creating things. I also have a writing community called Permission to Write that amplifies writers of color and Black writers. All this culmination I had done of like building a tribe and a community. One of those people was an editor at a now defunct imprint of Simon & Schuster called 37 Inc. And when I announced that I had an agent, she hit me and was like, oh, make sure I'm on your agent's list whenever you all are ready to pitch. And she ended up, although we pitched to multiple people, she ended up being the acquiring editor for the book.
That's divine orchestration. That's what that is.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? Up on the
internet. Listen. But and I will say this too, because for our family members who are joining us, I've known Dilemma and Ashley for years, and one thing that I will say that I know is at the core of their relationship is faith and God. I know that from the two of you. I know because I know them, but I know that and Ashley, you've said a few times, you mentioned faith and being faithful, and I love that. I love. I've always loved that about the two of you. In the next hour, I want to talk more about, who you are to one another and your relationship. And one thing that I remember about your relationship, I'll tell you, you probably say, what? Like, are you serious? You remember that of all things? But I'm going to share with you something that I actually remember. But I think it is, what I appreciate so much about your relationship, about the two of you, because I know you individually. And I know you as one, but you've maintained your individuality, which is, and I say this because, you're a young couple, but you're so grounded, which I so appreciate. I love that about the two of you. It takes, a lot of couples a very long time, a very, very, very long time to develop something that I see already in the two of you. And I know it's divine orchestration. I know that to be true, like I said, because I know the two of you. But from the outside looking in of your relationship, I just admire that about the two of you individually and as a couple. I think it's awesome. But I'm going to shut up. What we're going to do, okay, in this moment, we're going to take a short commercial break, okay? And when we come back, we're going to talk about y'all. We're going to talk about y'all. We're going to talk about the two of you and how you met and, and how your relationship grew. And we'll talk some more about who they are, to the world. But we want to know more about who you are to each other and what happens in your household, okay? So, family, stay with us, okay? Because we will be right back.
Stand with WURD Radio, Pennsylvania's only black-owned talk radio station. Join the movement to keep the conversations going and amplify the voice of the black community. Show your support. Start or renew your 4WURD membership today at WURDradio.com or call 215-425-7875.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and get my high school diploma.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Now she's like, you waste planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player for the Indianapolis Colts. Becoming a running back was no easy task for me. But it's nothing compared to what my amazing mom faces every day. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14 years old. Yet she's always there for me, every step of the way, despite her own battles. And the Muscular Dystrophy Association is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Their research is helping find cures and save lives. Watching my mom go through her daily struggles and the care she receives from MDA has made me determined to help find a cure for neuromuscular disease. That is why I support MDA, and that's why I'm so grateful to others who do too. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Imagine you on a deserted island all by yourself, or even being in a crowd of people yet still feeling alone. That's what being a victim of sexual assault can feel like. Victims of sexual assault are at an increased risk for developing depression, PTSD, substance abuse, eating disorders, and anxiety. Sexual assault can happen to anyone, and is any unwanted sexual contact such as unwanted touching, fondling, groping, or even rape. No always means no, so speak up and speak out. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media. Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Philadelphia. Black Talk Media.
Hey there, family. Welcome to the top of the second hour of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. So we've been talking about some things. We've been talking with our guests, Dilemma and Ashley Coleman. And they've been sharing with us about who they are in the big wide world, okay? The professionals that they are. They share just tidbits of their journeys with us. Dilemma is a producer. He's an engineer. He's a DJ. He's an educator. He's a Renaissance man, okay? Ashley Coleman is an author. She's a podcaster. She's a music industry professional. She is the director of member outreach for the Recording Academy. And she's a dreamer. And she too is a Renaissance woman. Okay. So with all of those titles, I know you're saying, well, wait a minute. We only learned a little. Yeah, well, they shared snippets because we want to get into their life together and who they are to one another. Now, I will tell you before the commercial break, family, if you're just joining us, I shared with them that there is one thing that I remember. I thought it was just adorable. When they were dating, I'm going to share, okay? Don't kill me. When they were dating, they would always go to get yogurt. I thought it was the cutest thing. Do you remember? I thought they would always
we went got yogurt
last night.
They would always go to get frozen yogurt, and I thought it was the cutest thing. It was, oh my goodness. I was like, wow, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. I know you're like, why? How do you remember that? Why do you remember that? I don't know. I don't know. But it was.
It's one of our things. Yeah.
That I remember that. That was one of your things, and I thought it was like, it was big though. It's big little thing. It's one of those big little things. It's one of those things that, you know, when you're like my aunt and uncle, who were guests on the show, they've been married for 55 years, and right. How about that, right? And they talk about they shared so many things about their lives together, but they shared their things, and the couples that we've had, everybody has a thing, and I think it's just adorable. You know, the it's like the glue.
Yeah.
So frozen yogurt is your glue.
At the time when we started doing it, the frozen yogurt spot was right in the middle between the Bellevue and Sigma. So when she was done working and I was done, we would walk and meet there, and we would have some time. And before that, we would go to the pizza spot. What was that pizza spot? Right, Jake's, right there.
See, I never heard that. I never heard the pizza story. So family, Ashley and I used to work together. We used to work together at the Recording Academy. For the Recording Academy, we worked together in the Bellevue. So that's how I'm familiar. In case you're wondering why do you know, and how do you know that they used to get frozen yogurt, and why would they tell you that? Well, that's how I know, because we used to work together for the Recording Academy, and I remember them going to get frozen yogurt. So I did not know about the pizza. See, because the yogurt is the glue.
Mm-hmm. The there it is.
There it is. So tell us, please, how did the two of you meet?
So this is going to be like a Martin episode. I'm pretty sure she has her own spin on how we met, and then I have my version of how we met.
We want to hear both.
Okay. All right. So we met at a beat battle, oddly enough. 4th and South Street at Fluid. It was a beat battle going on, and I was one of the judges. And normally at producer beat battles, is nothing but like dudes, and it's dark, and we're just playing beats all day. And so this particular night, I walk in and I see Ashley. But I don't know her. I walk past her. I'm like, who's this girl? Like, there's never girls at a beat battle. So, and then she was standing next to someone that I did know. And so as I'm like judging, I text the young lady like, who you with? Who you standing next to? Like, oh, you don't know what this is? This is a dope songwriter. And, da, da, da. And I'm like, yo, I'm looking for a songwriter. I just got the Sigma. I'm looking for writers. Introduce me. And so she's telling Ashley who I am. And then that night, we just kind of like exchanged information. Like, hey, I'm a producer. You're a writer. You should come by the studio. So that was like the first time we kind of met professionally.
Okay.
Couple of weeks later, I'm about to hit her, but she like hits me and says, "Hey, when can we get in the studio?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of crazy. I was about to hit you." So I invited her down to the studio, and she was playing me stuff that she had, and then I was playing her beats that I had, and so I gave her kind of like, I don't want to say throwaway beats, but I gave her like beats that I'm like, let's see what you could do with these, because I don't know you, like I don't know you. And what turned me on to like her work ethic and really made me want to like really, see the potential, kind of like Donald and everyone else, was that her turnaround time was really crazy. Like in 2 days later, she hit me back like, "Yo, I wrote that everything." And I was like, "All right, cool, come down." And when we had that first session and she was playing me songs, I automatically thought that like she had an amazing talent with words, like the way she put words together. So I was like, "Oh, you're really good with words. I don't know how strong of a songwriter you are, but you're really good with words. You might write a book. You might come out with, a Hallmark series cards." And at first she kind of like took it like, I don't know, but I was being real serious. I was like, "Yo, she's so poetic and it's not like straightforward. She makes you think." So I was like, "Oh, this is really cool." Then we did I think another couple of weeks went by and she came back with this one song she was really excited about, and that was called "Good Morning Love," which is her novel's title. So when I heard that, I was like, "Yo, this is really good." Like, "Oh man, this is really, really good. I think we're on to something." And, at the time Darrell came downstairs, he heard it, he thought it was really good. And that kind of started the relationship, the working relationship. And then we would take breaks and then, go to the pizza spot. And it started to we just spent a lot of time together. It was like she was always coming to the studio from like 3 and not leaving until like the middle of the night. Like we just spent a lot of time together. And at that particular time, I was going back and forth to church. I was like really in the church and just, on my regimen. And so she was experiencing seeing that too. And it was just interesting how God played a part early.
I remember that.
Yeah. From me, like, I think she was the first person I ever like prayed in the studio with. And I just remember her calling me a weirdo and like a church boy. She's like, "Oh, you're weird. Like, we're praying. Why are you praying? Hold your hand."
Really quick, because a lot of times, how people say, like, "I'm going to pray for you," and, like, that's the prayer. Rarely have people be like, "No, but let's pray, like, right now." Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, "Wait a minute." So that's actually funny because I feel like that's something now that I adapt. Like, when people are like, "Oh, can you pray for me?" or whatever, I'm like, "Okay, yeah, let's do it right now."
Let's
you
do
know
it.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, instead of, so that is funny that we all grow people.
It's amazing. She just did not know, like, I was not a church boy. So it's like she's seeing this new person. And so I'm like, I'm furthest thing from a church boy, but just pray. Pray with me.
Well, you meet people at certain times, right?
Yeah.
Like, Carol even talked about it a little bit earlier where, like, oh, you'll realize there's certain things you don't know about people because you met them at a certain time. So there's a lot past, that you don't really have. And so, it was just nature of, like, meeting you at that particular time. Yeah. And coming from 2 other producers that were super into, like, church. Like, Donald was the choir director, at his church. And Carmen was studying to be a minister at the time. Like, that we were working together. So I was just like, "All right, Lord, I get it." Like, they are all in the church.
Right. And that was like, you couldn't tell me nothing. Like, we had to pray, we going to work. If we went past a certain amount of time, I was pausing the session and watching like ran some Mumba or, some pastor. I was getting my service in, but it was very. It felt like in the early stages, it didn't feel forced. It was very organic. I never really, if it didn't feel like I was like holding her hostage. Like she always wanted to be around. I always wanted her around. And after a while, we started going to church together, and then once that started, like everyone at the church was just like, y'all gonna be together. Like my friends are like, oh, y'all gonna be together. And we never even said go out. It was just like, we just never separated. It was just like, all right, cool. This is just what we doing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I saw you together one day and then that was it. It was like, okay, well then this is it.
It was like, all right.
It was it.
And there was even times where we tried to chill. Like we felt like, we joked about it the other day. We was like, remember that week where we like forced not to talk to each other? Yeah, because we would like talk all the time when we first met, and then I was like, "Yo, this is going like, yo, chill. Like, let's do something. Let's not talk for a good week."
That was pretty funny.
When we got back to, that was the hardest week. This is what happened. Do you know? And I was just like, all right, yeah, there's got to be like feelings.
There's something here.
Yeah, because it was, everything was just happening so organically. It wasn't like she was a girlfriend to me. She was just like a partner and very smart, very secure, understood the studio life. And I just remember having that thought in the studio, like, oh, I wish I had a girl like you. Like, you know what I mean? I wish, because you kind of get what this is, and yeah, it was crazy. So like I said, like that one day she hit me that Sunday, it was like, what you doing? I was like, it's Sunday, I'm going to church. She was like, all right, I'm coming with you. That was it.
Okay. Okay. So Ashley, Dilemma said that your recollection might be slightly different of how
No, he actually did a good job, because you know how definitely like that episode of Martin. Sometimes folk be embellishing things, but he actually did a great job.
She was in the beat battle, like, oh, I wonder who he is.
Right. Yeah, he did good, because I was not paying this man no mind. And until, the friend that I was with was like, you just the best producer in the city, like all the gas. She had all the gas. But I guess one funny part was like, I do remember, so that was all pretty like factually correct. But one funny part I remember about that night was like, I remember when I was ready to leave, he had left before me with his friend Esteban Serrano. And as I was leaving, I was driving my dad's car, and my dad's car at that time was like hot. It was like, it had rims. It was like, I think it was like a STS. It was like an STS Cadillac. Like if you're into cars, like, and it was like black with like rims on it, right? My parents' car, because I didn't have a car, and I was like, I'm trying to go to this event because I need to meet producers. Like, I was very ambitious and driven, like I'm gonna meet the producers. I did show up like, ooh, it's a lot of men here, but I was just trying to do what I was doing.
I'm on a mission.
All I can remember is thinking like, oh, I didn't want to run into them. And I ran into them, and they saw me getting in that car, and I was embarrassed.
You were embarrassed? But
I was embarrassed because I knew the car would draw a lot of attention. I felt like they were gonna be like, well, who is this girl driving this car? And it wasn't mine. That's how I felt like, oh.
And we did. We were at Lorenzo's. We were walking back. She was walking. I was like, oh, there's a girl I just met. And then I'm like, oh, wait, she getting in that car? I gotta get my stuff together before, we get like, I gotta make sure I got the hottest beats and,
It was a hot car, and it was not mine.
I was like, oh, she's not playing around.
Oh, that is too funny. That is funny. You were like, look, I'm not flossing. I'm not flexing. This isn't even mine. It doesn't belong to me. I'm not flexing, okay? This is my dad's. And it was the one thing too that you were like, yo, that's hot. I gotta come to her correctly. So it worked. Look, it served its purpose. It worked. And you still gave her See, and you already told on yourself though. You told us that you gave her like, dummy beats. Like you were just like,
That's for my protection, though. That's for my
okay.
Oh, I was gonna say I had already worked with Grammy nominated people, and you giving me the dummy. Really?
Listen, I'm new to Philly. I don't know nobody.
Like, you take this. Let me see what you can do with it.
Yeah, let me see what you can do. And then when she called me 2 days later, like, I wrote to everything. I was like,
wait, what?
She was here every day after that. It was like, oh, okay, she's here. What's up? What we doing? And
so wait. Well, and I'm sorry to interject, but wait, I want to know what your thought was in that moment. You saw the car she was driving, and then you gave her some beats, and she wrote to them and turned it around like this. Okay, was there some intimidation there at that moment?
No, because she's such a real one. She probably talked about the car the first session, like she was so like disarming and like, listen, I'm such a real person. That it was like, oh yeah, I was thinking who car that was, and we like laughed about it.
Because I think I came in another car. Like I think I came in my mom's car at that time.
Yeah. Because I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on at that particular time in my life that she was unaware of until like later. Like I was literally sleeping at the studio. Like that's where I was constantly. So she was, you always at the studio. She didn't know, like, there's a big box of clothes downstairs in the basement that I'm like, yeah, I'm always here. So it was like, it was a lot going on in both of our lives. And that's really where my focus was just getting my life together and getting my relationship with Christ back where it needs to be and where it should be. But she was always like just that spring. It was just funny in the beginning stages because I was just like, who is this person, God? Like, this girl is crazy.
This firecracker.
Yeah, like this girl is crazy.
A firecracker. That's funny. That you would say that as she's like this firecracker because, like, I've known.
It jogs me of like how I was back then. You know what I mean? Like it jogs my memory of like, whoa, I was a lot.
In what way? In what way would you say?
Just like super like about it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I kind of bring that to anything that I do. It's like I'm all in, you know. So whether it's writing a book and writing 100 agents, or or songwriting and getting beats and doing my best. I was still learning a lot about how to be a good songwriter, but I was like, I'm gonna do the work. Like, you know what I mean? Okay, you don't like that one? Okay, what's the next? Okay, you don't like that one?
Moving on to the next.
It's very like, very hardworking and very like about it. You know what I mean? So I could just imagine that being a lot for somebody just meeting you.
But that's one of the things that stood out to me with you. I love that about you. It was a part of your personality, but you were ambitious, you were focused, you were driven. You are, not past tense, but you are. You're ambitious, you're focused, and you're driven, and I love that. And especially and particularly in a young woman, because I know when I'm like this, I don't see or hear anything else. Nothing else exists, and I saw that in you, and I loved it because you don't always see it. You know what I mean? You don't see that in a lot of people. You may see it in some, but when you do, you zone in, you identify it, and you're like, yo, that one right there. You know what I mean? So, right. But I love that about you. That is one thing, because you're like, okay, so what's up? What we doing? What needs to be done?
Right.
I love that, because that's like, I have to talk to myself sometimes, like, okay, you are human. I have to talk to myself and say, come back. I have to reel myself in sometimes. So I love that, because I saw that in you, and I was like, okay, because I feel like a weirdo. So, because I always tell people I'm socially awkward. So I have always felt like a weirdo because of that, because, we're creatives. And when you, of course, I can identify with something else that you are, like, you use both sides of your brain, because working in a corporate like environment, and in a creative environment. I'm used to doing that. And a lot of people aren't. A lot of people, you know, that's a lot to do.
Right. Yeah.
And as a person, it's a lot to process. We do it, but it is a lot to process. So people with whom we share space, time, energy, and spirit, they might have a lot to digest when they're in our company. So, but I love that. I love that. So I get it. After hearing you say it, I can identify with that. So family, I'm going to take a minute, okay? Because we're talking with Dilemma and Ashley Coleman, and I want to give them a chance to catch their breath and think about what we're going to talk about next when we come back from this commercial break. So stay with us.
April is National Poetry Month.
Transformation begins. Boom, boom, boom. Transformation begins. Boom, 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 boom. Why does this poetry pulsate within me with the intensity of 1,000 hearts? I could write this in 1,000 parts and still might not understand why these prophecies of poetry funnel through me like cases are just the tracks. My lyrical erection would never retract, cause my poetry is hard but soft enough to make Master P drop a tear. Nah. I say, holla if you hear me, cause Ivy got the hook up on heavenly passes with no need to pass the plate for offerings whomever's congregating. I'm offering eternity without segregating souls, and like the city, I'm an itty bitty kid in this worldly litter, but my litter will pollute this vast mass of trash and filthy with poetic positivity. Putting holes in your holes on the bash negativity. My words need no promotion, so maybe I should sign with relativity. I got more tips and gratuity, so I'ma continue this like continuity aboard the continental flight across the continents. I represent like Olympians taking victory laps, wave my red and gold pen in the atmosphere. My words are record breaking. Transformation. Transformation ends.
That was Vintage J. Ivy on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Yeah! Sam, Elmo!
Oh, hey, Julia. You ready to play band with us? I'm going to play my clarinet.
And Elmo's going to play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still has to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
Black Americans have died of COVID-19 at over 2 times the rate of white counterparts. This is due to systemic racism and healthcare disparities. Here are some tips for protecting yourself. Wear a mask covering your mouth and nose. Avoid crowds. Wash your hands with soap and water. Use alcohol-based sanitizers. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Practice social distancing and follow World Health Organization guidelines. Quarantine if you've been exposed to the virus. Self-isolate if you're experiencing symptoms. Seek medical attention if you experience difficulty breathing, a fever, cough, sudden confusion, or pressure in your chest. If you don't have health insurance or a healthcare provider, try contacting your state health department, community health clinics, or local hospitals for testing and treatment. Together, we can stay informed and empowered. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
When I cross the finish line, it's not just me. I succeed because of others. When I was pregnant, I survived because of others. At 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Because my doctor took quick action and my husband was there to help me, I'm alive. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
For the Indianapolis Colts, becoming a running back was no easy task for me. But it's nothing compared to what my amazing mom faces every day. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14 years old. Yet she's always there for me, every step of the way, despite our own battles. And the Muscular Dystrophy Association is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Their research is helping find cures and save lives. Watching my mom go through her daily struggles and the care she receives from MDA has made me determined to help find a cure for neuromuscular disease. That is why I support MDA, and that's why I'm so grateful to others who do too. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka The Food Griot, the host of Savory and Sweet, a new show about food, history, and culture. Savory and Sweet is a flavorful exploration of food, marinated in the Black experience, seared with history and brazen culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet, Food, History, and Culture every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. beginning January 2nd, 2022, exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Independent Black Media.
Welcome back, family. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. So I want to continue this conversation. You know what, Dilemma? I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. Family, for those of you who are listening and are not watching, Dilemma is teasing me. He is clowning me. And I can see him and he forgets that I can see him.
You just have the perfect voice. That's what it just makes me like.
It's really perfect.
You need to come out with like a meditation, like.
Oh my gosh. No, let me tell you, you're the fifth person to say that to me. Okay, so God, I'm listening. Okay.
Yeah.
No, seriously, you make the fifth person to say that to me. Okay, I hear you. I hear you loud and clearly. Okay. Oh, say no more. Say no more, please. Okay. So in any event, now that I've received, okay, because clearly I was fighting it because you're the fifth person to say it. I receive it now. But what I want to talk about is the two of you. And I was sharing with you all that I remember how frozen yogurt is the glue to your relationship, which I love.
Yeah,
oh, listen, you are not alone. Okay, but I want to know. You were talking about how your relationship grew gradually and naturally, which I love. So many of our couples talk about how when one of them first identified, was there a moment where either one of you or did one of you first, like identify first, like, you know what? Yeah, this is it. This is it.
This is where we go left. This is because this is when I'm like, this is clearly when it happened. But she's like, oh no. So I'm gonna just let her tell her story.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think. I feel like that kind of stuff is hard for me because when I look back on it, he might be right about like maybe when it started, but in my mind at the time, I was like, no. So I feel like there's this one moment where, like, if you remember Philly, you'll know the Arts Garage and how the Arts Garage that was on Ridge, that is no longer a venue. I don't think, but it was such a hub for like creativity and jam sessions and open mic nights. Just a great vibe right there in North Philly. And there was one night I used to have trouble finding people who wanted to do music stuff with me. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
it was like,
Okay.
you know, I had friends and things like that, but they just weren't like, they just weren't into music. So
Okay.
trying to get them to go to like, hey, go to this open mic night with people you never heard of singing is kind of like, I'll go to a concert with you, but not this. And so, you know, we had been working together, you know, for some time at that point, and I just felt like I don't want to go to another one of these things by myself because that's how we met. I was literally by myself. I only saw the person I knew once I got there. I had no idea she would be there. And so I called him and was like, hey, you trying to go to this arts garage thing? Now, let him tell it was a date. Okay? It was like I was inviting him on a date. And
It was a date, y'all.
but that was not my intention, like, at all.
I'm like, you only call me for sessions. Why are you calling me to go to this music event?
It was a music thing. I thought you would be into it. I would be into it. I think it's fair. I think I need to say, like, I've been friends with guys most of my life. So I've never felt like that pressure of like, oh, it's a romantic thing because you're a guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it was by nature of my brother's 4 years older than me. And, you know, it was only me and my brother. So I just have a cool rapport, you know, with guys. So I just didn't attribute it to that. But, like, I guess, like, now that I'm older, I can look back at it and see how he was interpreting it. But it was not, I'm telling you, my brain was not there.
It was not her intention.
I never left the studio. So for someone to ask me, I'm like, oh, I gotta like put clothes on and like look like something, go to this event. She coming and she's picking me up in that fancy car. And I'm like,
well, you got rims and everything. Okay. You listen.
Like naturally, like how I am is like, you know, just how I was raised, especially if you're out with a young lady or just you protect them, you know. So you're kind of like you're in an event, but it ain't like you go do your thing. No, if I came here with you, I got to make sure you're good. So I just had that overall energy anyway, and it was a good event. But we always go back and forth like, was it a date or was it not a date? And I'm like, I never left the studio, so.
You but I can see how it changed the terms. You know what I'm saying? Like I can see how it might have changed the terms for us, and like maybe that was a moment of understanding. But I also was thinking of this other moment. We had gone to like Applebee's because we would just go to like the most simplest places. Like sometimes we like ratchet like chain restaurants. Like just bear with us because I know some people like Applebee's. Leave us alone.
Applebee's lit. All right. Applebee's lit. All right.
And I do remember leaving there one day downtown, like 15th Street or something like that, wherever that Applebee's was. And I got this weird thought, like, that's your husband. And I was like, huh? Like, I was like really confused.
Wait, that wasn't the reaction, was it?
It really was. I was like,
I tell you, she's crazy.
I was a little confused. I think especially because it was like, it felt like, where's this coming from? Because I wasn't feeling like these like amorous feelings, you know. But like it literally just echoed in my head, and to be where we are now, it's like so crazy that I would have had that thought. Because you know how people are always like, oh, I knew that was gonna be my husband. Like I didn't necessarily feel like that, but I did get that one little weird thought, and I was like, whoa, look, that really happened, Dave. So yeah.
Ashley. It's so funny to me because you're right with most of the couples with whom I've spoken, one or the other will say, oh, I knew. And you know, they'll say, well, you know, either the wife will say, when I saw him, I knew. Or the husband will say, oh no, when she said so and so and such and such, I knew she was my wife. And Dilemma is saying, yeah, we went on a date and she asked me out on a date. And you're saying, no, not at all. But so let me ask you, Ashley, when did that moment happen for you? Or, you know, when did you finally say, you know what, he is my husband? I remember having that, you know, that moment where that thought popped into my head, but you know what, I own this now. He definitely is my husband.
I can't pinpoint an exact moment, but I can say that like maybe part of that realization was like he would always go to Yakitori Boy for food and for karaoke, and I really distinctly remember, and I would accompany like multiple nights. Sometimes I like invited a friend over. It was just kind of like something that they did. And they had a great rapport with like the owners. God bless Jimmy who passed away. Yeah. So I just remember being in that moment and loving. One of the things I loved the most about him was how outgoing he was. And so I felt like that was somebody who could kind of match my energy, because I was very extroverted at that time. I feel like the older I get, a little bit more of the introvert comes out in me. But at that time, I was very extroverted. And since learning that he's also an introvert, actually, that turns on for him, but he's a lot more introverted than I might have originally thought. But I just remember loving things like that he would go to it. He was somebody I could go to an open mic with. Like, I guess to his point, it felt like, even still now, it feels like a life partner. Like, we talk about adventures and like even going to the Grammys, and like we're like at Seven Magic Mountains and Red Rock Canyon, and just like having all these like nature moments and stuff like that. And so I feel like something about that setting of Yakitori felt like it just shined him in his best light. I feel like being social and singing Michael Jackson, and I was really like attracted to that light.
I was a karaoke star.
Yeah.
All right. I was traveling up and down 95.
Oh my goodness.
Karaoke spots.
No, dude.
I got one song and one song only.
Right.
That is hilarious. Okay, one song. So let me ask you, when did you know Dilemma?
I probably knew earlier, because at that time I was praying to God to send me someone that was after his characteristics, someone that's after him. And because that's where I was at that time. So I felt like if I'm after him and whoever he's sending to me is after him, we'll all meet at the same place. So in the beginning, when she was calling me, you're a church boy, you're a weirdo, I was like, all right, God, clearly this isn't her. Because, she
doesn't get me.
There was a time she came to the studio and her energy was like a little off. She wasn't as like, giddy and happy. And so I shared with her a CD from my pastor, because at the time I was getting CDs from my pastor, and I was like, well, here, listen to this. This cheers me up, listening to this. And she called me afterwards after listening to it. She was like, yo, I really like that CD. It was really dope. Who is it? And I was like, oh, he's a pastor I go to. He's kind of like in Germantown and everything. And the conversation started to happen. So I was just interested. I'm like, all right, God, what are you doing? And then she wanted to hear more and, wanted to get more CDs. And after a while, it turned into coming to church. And then it was the moment we started having conversations after church that it was like sealed for me in my mind. Like, all right, if this is going to be the one, we are at least starting in the right direction, because we're going to church, not even really sitting next to each other. We're really just getting fed for each other. Like, she's finding out more about herself. I'm finding out more about myself. And then we will go get brunch afterwards and discuss what we just heard. And how do we apply it within ourselves? Like, oh, I'm selfish. I got to work on this. Oh, yeah, I'm this. And I'm like, okay, she's the type of person that gets information and kind of checks herself. So you never really have to check her, because she's so hard on just making herself better. And that's when it clicked for me. It was just like, okay, if she's after always bettering herself, I want to be around that same energy. And that was it. It was just, because if she's going to keep working on herself, that's going to make me keep working on myself. And we just kept going to church and having conversations about it. So it wasn't just like, okay, you're a producer, da, 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 da. It was like real life stuff.
Right.
And that's when it went off. I'm like, oh, okay, this is the journey that's happening. Because when we first met, I was like, God, you tripping. Like,
I was far from that journey.
I was like, who is this person?
No.
She belongs to the streets.
Get her out of here. Get her out of here.
No. That is hilarious. We'll get her out of here. Wait, family, do you hear this? Do you hear these two lovebirds? This is not the one. No. Oh my goodness. But it's so funny. It really is so funny because I was on the outside looking in, and like I said, one day you were there, and then that was it. That was it. Like, no, Dilemma's on his way. We're about to go get some frozen yogurt. And it was like, that was it. That was it. It was, that's all there was. So for me, it's like, okay, I blinked and you two were one. That was it.
Right.
Family, if you're just tuning in, you have tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We are talking with Dilemma and Ashley Coleman. Husband and wife, they are a phenomenal couple. You know what? There's so much that you've missed if you've just tuned in. But in any event, stay with us, though, because we're going to take a short commercial break. And when we come back, we will learn more about these two. So stay with us.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
We're often influenced by what we see or hear on social media. Beware of disinformation campaigns targeting Black communities by using cultural issues to incite divisions, spread false information, and negatively influence public opinions. We're in this together, and together we can stay informed and empowered. Learn more at nbcit.org. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side. By your side. And every day is a different day. Everything is in everything. Even when you think things can never ever be the same. Don't be scared of the world. I'll be here to stay. By your side. Even when your heart ain't listening, or your mind takes you a different way, towards a different path. All you gotta do is sit and ask. When you need me, I'll be by your side.
When the adults in a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time.
I'll be by your side.
Talk. They hear you.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
Hey family, I'm Carol Riddick.
And I'm Donavan S. And we're the hosts of Love and Life, a new show about,
well, love and life.
This show is an informative, entertaining, and refreshing take on the hard conversations about love and life.
Each day, we'll provide real facts and honest opinions on dating, sexual health, casual, and committed relationships.
These late night conversations will be served on a judgment-free platter and seasoned with unapologetic realness.
So join us Sunday night through Thursday night at midnight on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Independent Black Media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. And we have been talking with none other than Dilemma and his beautiful wife, Ashley Coleman. We've been talking about their life together. Oh my goodness, we've been talking about their lives individually as we've experienced them in the professional realm. How about that? But although we've talked about so many things, there's still so much to discuss. We didn't even talk about track meet. I wanted to tell everyone about that. But we have so little time left that this is what I would like to do. I'm going to ask you both to share your socials so that our family members can find you, number one, can grow with you, stay in touch, and can know exactly what you're doing. So I'm going to ask that of you first, and then I have another question for you.
Sure. So all my social handles are just Ashley M as in Mary Coleman _ Sorry, I know the underscore is weird, but when people have your handles, that's what you got to do. So it's at Ashley M Coleman _ on all things. That's ASHLEY, M as in Mary, COLEMAN _.
And you can find me at Official Dilemma, that's DILEMMA, on Instagram and Twitter. And that's where you can find me, Official Dilemma.
I love it. I love it. So before you both leave us, tell us what's next for you.
Sure. So if you don't mind, I start. So I feel like, one, I love platforms like this that are able to talk about love and life. And so one of the things that I guess, like, I'll talk about what I am excited about next. But I guess if I had to give any insight, one of the things I love about our relationship is like the friendship. I think that is that is part of the yogurt, that is part of the adventures. I think that has been such a sustainable part of like who we are. So if I could offer anything, because I feel like I don't know anything about being married 55 years and what that takes. But I know in this time, I feel like that has been one of the greatest foundational things. As for what I'm excited about next, is really just the book. Good Morning Love comes out in June of 2022. So June 21st, the book will be available. So I'm thrilled about that. And just hope that you all will grab that. And then, of course, my writing community, Permission to Write, where we help amplify and cultivate the voices of Black writers and writers of color. So it's not enough if I'm the only one who just has a book deal. We have a great community of writers that are selling their books, getting agents and things like that, and building community with one another. So I'm excited about that too.
I do have a question. So is it specific to authors, those writing books, or is it with anyone who's writing? Could it be with regard to someone who's writing a script or songwriters or?
Yes. So there's a little bit of everything. We have freelance writers, we have screenwriters, we have authors, we have, poets, it's kind of just a safe place for Black and POC writers to build community. We do like Zoom writing sessions, we do masterclasses, workshops. We just build with one another and support one another. So it's open to one and all types of writers, even if you're a songwriter, come join us.
I love that. I love that. Oh my goodness. Okay, Dilemma, I don't want to leave you out.
Oh no. What do I have going on? A couple of things that I'm excited about right now. Of course, I want to say the development company and music production company that we're building, crew, and developing, artists, our artist Dom and Jesse, and looking forward to grabbing a few more artists just to have on our roster. Super excited about the music and everything that we're creating with them. And of course, Track Meet, my kind of like Permission to Write, but just for producers. Track Meet, the game show where we spotlight producers in a different way.
Can you spell that for us for those who are looking? I'm sorry to interject, but I want them to be able to find it.
Yes, of course. It's on Instagram. It's at TRAKMEET. TRAKMEET. Track Meet. So just super excited for that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, getting it to maybe Netflix or Amazon Prime. Turn it into a real TV show, real game show for producers. And being out here, I'm looking forward to doing it out here. It was very successful in Philadelphia. I'm looking forward to,
where is out here?
Seeing how it's out here on this.
Where is out here?
Yeah, on LA, in LA.
Yeah, well, I know that, but I know that, but for our family members who don't know,
yes,
because they don't know that you've relocated, so they don't know.
Yes, we just relocated and getting adjusted out here. But it's been great. And so we're just looking forward to expanding and new adventures.
I know that's right. I love it. I love it all. You hear me? I love it all. And once again, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your time, your energy, your attention with us, and for sharing your story. Because, like I said, I think it's so important that we all communicate, that we all talk just about life. Because we all have something to share, and something from any of our stories can be helpful to another person's journey.
Absolutely.
So, with that, family, this is the moment that I dread, okay? But it is time for me to tell you that wraps up tonight's episode of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. I want to extend my utmost gratitude to you, family, for spending your time with us, your time, your energy, your attention with us. I tell you all the time that your company and your attention are always welcome. I want to extend my gratitude to the entire WURD family and to my alternating co-host, Donavan West, and especially and particularly to our guests tonight, Dilemma and his beautiful wife, Ashley Coleman. Family, be safe, be well. Have a great night, have a great morning, and have a great rest of your day. But remember, we are all in this together, okay? You hear me? We are all in this together. So be good to you, but be good to those around you. Make sure you join us at midnight for another edition of Love and Life on WURD. Be well, family.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka the Food Griot, the host of Savory and Sweet, a new show about food, history, and culture. Savory and Sweet is a flavorful exploration of food, marinated in the Black experience, seared with history and brazen culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet, Food, History, and Culture every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Oh, hey, Julia. You ready to play band with us? I'm going to play my clarinet.
And Elmo's gonna play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Sam, Elmo.
Oh, hey, Julia. You ready to play band with us? I'm going to play my clarinet.
And Elmo's gonna play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.